Heritage effect. We'll draw a card here. We'll Tribute Summon. Oh, that's a big one. Activate Stormforth, and oh shit. Oh god, okay, there is the biggest masterpiece I've ever seen. True Draco Apocalypse coming out, yeah, for Masterpiece, that's pretty good. Activate True Draco Heritage, and Magical Explosion time for 46, not enough. Heritage to tribute summon the opponent's monster for a Masterpiece, and oh my god, this is it. Oh, man. Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-Minute Testing. He's back! He's back. After years of terrorizing my tournaments and almost a decade destitute, Masterpiece has returned. But can he stand up to today's top decks? No, he can't. But if you'll humor me, I could really use your eyes for the next 10 minutes. Presenting True Draco.
Told you I was the master. Alright, man.
So here's the list. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is a one-stop shop for all things Yu-Gi-Oh! They're responsible for the pack opener that makes series-like progression possible. They've got strategy articles for those looking to flesh out their fundamentals. They're the most complete repository of deck lists and results from regionals and YCSs online. And they've also got cube and draft infrastructure that's finally seeing use now that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players have come to the light of Limited. There's a good chance that any Yu-Gi-Oh! Content you see on YouTube has Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck's many tendrils somewhere within its DNA. So why not go to the source and improve your game, draft with friends, or just see what 11-year-olds are playing in their Blue Eyes decks this month? Head on over to YGOPRODECK.com. Now back to the video. So with that, let's take a look at True Draco. For you Yu-Gi Zoomers in the audience, this deck may be more myth than strategy, whispered among balding streamers and traumatized 2017 duelists. Often mentioned in the same breath as Tenpai, True Draco was many things. Strategic, capable on both sides of the die roll, and most of all, annoying. At the helm of this deck was Masterpiece, the true Draco slaying fuck, a card that, with extremely minimal setup, could be immune to the effects of monsters, spells, traps, or any two of the above. This deck far outlived its format, and was rogue playable all until the release of Sky Striker years after its debut. All of that can be ascribed to this card. Or can it? Despite what YouTubers might say, Masterpiece wasn't nearly the house you may have heard. Instead, it was the finisher for a suite of cards that were extremely effective in their roles, and the strength of the deck much more depended on the continued existence of cards like Dynamite Knight, Ignis Heat, Heritage, and Dragonic Diagram. Many True Draco pilots would even board out of Masterpiece in most matchups, as the two cards you needed to funnel into him were a huge minus for a deck that lived and died off of draw spells and card advantage. In short, while many people recall being frustrated when he hit the field, he really only showed up after the game had already been won. Nonetheless, he has become a bit of a boogeyman, in no small part thanks to his overperformances in the Masochist Banlist tournament, so let's see if he lives up to the legend. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First up, the monsters: 1 copy of Masterpiece, 3 copies of Dynamite Knight, 2 Ignis Heat, and 2 Majesty Maiden. No hand traps here, we die like men. After that, we've got 3 copies of Pot of Desires, 1 card of Demise, a Terraforming, triple Pot of Duality, triple Heritage, double Draco Phoenix, and 1 Dragonic Diagram. The real strength of this deck is the amount of cards it gets to see. The other real strength is the Floodgates, which we'll now go on to. 1 Teak Boo, 1 Skill Drain, 1 Goes and Match, 1 Rivalry of Warlords, 3 copies of the Monarch's Erupt, which is pretty much Skill Drain, and then True King's Return, 3 True Draco Apocalypse, 3 Solemn Strike, and 3 of this card you may be familiar with because of the Odeon support, Apophis the Swamp Deity. Provided you've got another continuous trap, it's just a free Solemn Judgment. In the side, we've got 3 copies of Fuwalos, 2 Lightning Storm, a Harpy's Feather Duster, triple Forbidden Droplet, triple Evenly Matched, and triple Solemn Judgment. So with that, let's check out some games. Our first match is up against Mathmech, and a fellow brother in arms in terms of unbanned cards. They're playing the Adagnister stuff, so who knows how this deck's going to exist by the time we get it stateside. We're going to begin by tributing a trap for our Majesty Maiden and going for 1 off the Heritage. They will Ash that. We'll Majesty Maiden, they'll Veiler, and they're down to a 3-card hand. No big deal, no big deal. Remember, Majesty Maiden will trigger on our opponent's turn too, so we'll set 2 and pass. They're going to begin with a copy of Sigma. We'll activate Majesty Maiden. They will Ghost Ogre. We can afford to lose this monster because we have a copy of True King's Return set. We'll flip that now as they go for Sigma into Lingerie. Lingeribo, and ooh, that's kind of a problem. We'll flip the Apophis, which thankfully gets the Lingeribo off their side of the field, and at this point I feel like we probably shouldn't screw around anymore. Let's just perform the Tribute Summon and bring out the Masterpiece. We'll use True King's Return in order to send the subtraction to the graveyard, and thankfully they don't have another card, and what a rip off the top! Card of Demise gets us all the way back into the game. We'll go Terraforming to grab a copy of Diagram, set that, and then set 2 additional cards before passing turn. Our opponent's going to draw for turn. It is a Defensor. They'll normal summon the Defensor. We'll activate Masterpiece in order to pop that bad boy. Then we'll activate the Monarch's Erupt so they can activate nothing else. We'll draw for turn. It is a Rivalry of Warlords. No big deal. We can use the Dragonic Diagram to cash in our Solemn Strike and then tribute over the Rivalry for a copy of Dynamite Knight and refill our back row after they activate an effect. Our opponent will draw for turn. They're going to go ahead and grab a copy of Addition. That's good. They'll begin with the Wizard Adignister, then use Addition, which will trigger our Dynamite Knight and get us a copy of True King's Return, at which point they will go to the battle phase and walk directly into our Dragonic Diagram. So that's how the deck performs on the play, but would you believe it does even better on the draw? Our opponent for game 2 is playing Salamangreat, and our grip is something. They're going to go for a copy of Balings off the Weasel. They'll go ahead and grab themselves a copy of Sanctuary. Then afterwards, they'll activate Code of the Soul in order to summon itself and then make a copy of Sunlight Wolf. Weasel here will go ahead and summon the Balings to our side of the field, conspicuously in the Sunlight Wolf zone. Then they will Final Bringer of the End Times to unlock the Gazelle in their grip. That's kind of cute. Gazelle here is going to set a copy of Spinny. They will use the Spinny effect to summon it to their side of the field to make a Mirage Stalio. Then Mirage Stalio for a copy of Jack Jaguar. From here, they can make another Balings, then activate the effect of the Jack Jaguar, putting back this copy of Sunlight Wolf as they make a Promethean Princess. Prom Princess is going to bring back Spinny into Raging Phoenix, and will reincarnation summon the Raging Phoenix, which allows them to search a copy of Rage. Rage and 2 Imperm, huh? Well, that's a sick draw off the top. We're going to begin with a copy of Pot of Duality, and we find a lot. We're just going to go ahead and take that copy of Return, then we're going to send 2 to the graveyard for our Masterpiece. Now, we are not monster immune here, but we should be able to stave them off monsters for the rest of the game. We'll go over their monsters twice. That triggers the effect of the Raging Phoenix and allows them to summon one back. No big deal, because we can use Masterpiece in main phase 2 in order to get rid of it. Our opponent will draw for turn, and it is a Signet Mining. They're going to go for the Signet Mining, targeting the Code of Soul, and we will go for 2 Apophyses. Here we're going to be able to negate the Signet Mining and just summon the other, negate the Salamangreat Sanctuary as well. They'll pass turn, and we'll start sniping that back row. Imperm does nothing against our Trap Immune Masterpiece, but it doesn't really matter anyway. In main phase 1, we will activate Pot of Duality and find off the top. Oh god, anything we could ever want. Let's go ahead and take a second Monarchs Erupt just in case and go to the battle phase. 2/2/29 is not enough. Again, really difficult to OTK with this strategy. No big deal. They are mostly done. A Forbidden Droplet is cool, but also doesn't affect our Masterpiece, so they're just going to send their last remaining card and allow us to go to the battle phase to get in for lethal. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's on what else but Fiend Smith Ryziel. Oh boy. 7th Tachyon is not exactly Bonfire, is it? Well, okay. We're going to go ahead and set up this copy of Ignis Heat and pass turn. Our opponent draws for turn. They have a 7th Ascension in grip and the Tachyon, so they'll fish for an Ash Blossom here. Afterwards, they're going to go for the Tachyon, revealing Masquerade in order to grab from deck to hand a copy of Ice. They're going to normal summon this copy of Ice. We'll trigger the effect of the Ignis Heat and enjoy Teekboo, idiot! Okay, actually, they do have a target, right? They're going to go for Exciton Knight, which is horrible here. They're going to book our Ignis Heat and activate Exciton Knight. We will activate Apophis. We do at least have a way to hedge against that, but down comes the Ext, and we actually lose here. So it's time for game 2, and god, between Mirrologic Aggregator and Exciton Knight, I'm starting to think that these decks just do too much. We're going first again in game 2. We'll begin with a copy of Terraforming, pretty great card to draw. We'll go for Duality next, fishing for something. Those are all pretty good. Let's go ahead and take the strike. We're going to go for a Desires afterwards, draw a couple of cards, then activate Dragonic Diagram, tribute summon a copy of Dynamite Knight, and diagram away the additional copy of Desires for a Heritage. That Heritage is going to draw some cards as well. We'll just go ahead and set one of them and a second before passing back to our opponent with 2 Solemns. They'll begin with a copy of Ice Ryziel that is worth a Dynamite Knight from us. We're going to go ahead and activate a copy of True King's Return, and they'll get an Ext. From here, they're going to overlay for a copy of Exciton Knight. That's worth a Judgment. Afterwards, they're going to special summon a sword and activate its effect in order to grab an Ext. From here, they can special summon the Ext from their hand and Mirrologic Aggregator away the True King's Return. We will at least use it to tribute summon an Ignis Heat, which forces them to commit further as we pop their sword. They will do so for a node. They'll activate the effect of the node. We will trigger the effect of the Ignis Heat and get ourselves a copy of Disciples as well. They'll summon back a monster and then overlay for a Detonator, which will be struck. I'm feeling great from this position, despite the fact that I'm really low. They're going to go for the Cross here, shuffling 2 cards back, including the Detonator, then Ascension in order to grab a copy of Tachyon. They'll use 7th Tachyon in order to reveal for a Light, and oh my god, they can still summon the Ice from hand. They still get to go Detonator, attach Mirrologic Aggregator. They can walk over the Dynamite Knight, but of course it will be protected by the Dragonic Diagram. We're in a great position here. We just got to out this one guy. We'll switch our monsters to defense position and set a card. I'm none too keen on activating card effects. We'll do so when we are pressured to do so by an activation from our opponent, because then we can chain the Apophis. which does nothing, right? The chain works in such a way that we won't have a continuous on field when this happens. Oh my god, why is this deck so clunky and Ryziel so everything? So we're back with the deck, and, well, what do you expect? Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, well, there are decks that struggle to out Masterpiece. Monster Spell is kind of a hassle versus Ryziel, especially when Dragonic Diagram is online. Monster Trap is okay against Malice to hedge against MTP. 2, Floodgates. These are on the list for a reason, folks, but being the only deck allowed to play a playset of almost skill drain is a big sell in a world where actual skill drain is limited. And 3, the non-Masterpiece part of the deck is still really good. There's not a lot that effectively deals with Dynamite Knight. Ignis Heat is the best anti-hand trap tool since Called By, and Dragonic Diagram is still a house. And the cons. 1, Masterpiece kind of sucks. There's so many scenarios where going into him early is just so awful, since you can't contest negation on the play that gets you back into the game, but you also have to go in on him because otherwise you're just going to get bowled over. 2, the metagame has totally eclipsed this deck. Stupid interactions like Detonator on every true Draco activation, the unbelievably efficient engines that Malice, Blue Eyes, Odeon, hell, even Crystron present are just too hard to get over. And 3, it takes forever to turn the corner, which puts you in a delicate time situation in a deck full of Solemns going into boarded games where you can expect 1 trillion targeted cards. Unfortunately, I think he's no longer the master. So that's that. Thanks so much for watching. These videos are made possible by, and occasionally suggested by, my patrons, some of whom have paid a ton of money to be mentioned at the end of the video. A huge heartfelt thank you to Elena Tincher, Alex Perea, Allison Elliott, Ally, Anthony S. Sierri, APK, Early Tier 0, Brett Henry, Cool Name, Damon O'Neill, Dark Rebel XYZ, Derpin Dragon, DJ Elefante, DK Gondo, NB Adams, FPS Lord Derp, Garrett Ran, Hergalicious, Juan Cruz Avilazati, Night Mary, Legal Rights, Luis Hernandez, Lullaby of Souls, Master of Faster, Matthew M. Derezzo, MBT Play Madolce, Mike Carlotti, N54 Lionheart, Nacho Gonzalez, Nebula Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pombo, Project Mercury, Rohan Doge, Rose Lapine, Serpentax, Shelby Piet, Sly Ninja 43, Soul CLG, Troy Says By Erasure Is Gay, Who's Nick, Wonder Waffle, and Yuki Kazami. Couldn't have done it without you.